Our headline story: ease of doing business in Nigeria. The ability of a business to thrive in a country has been identified as a major reason for new investments to pour into those economies. The World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index uses laid-down criteria to determine how easy it is for a business to be established and to make profit. Today, we'll be focusing on how Nigeria is faring in this area and what steps need to be taken to make businesses grow in Africa's largest economy. I'm Tolulope Adileru Balogun. Welcome. This is Business Edge. Announcement that a Nigerian company has acquired 100% ownership of ShopRite Nigeria has renewed conversations around doing business in the country. Ketron Investments Limited will now own and operate all 25 ShopRite outlets spread across 11 states and Abuja, the FCT in Nigeria. Ketron plans to open additional stores and introduce more Nigerian-made products in the stores. While this is good news for the indigenous company, there are those who wonder if this is not a sign that foreigners are no longer seeing Nigeria as a good or viable investment. This is where the Ease of Doing Business Index comes in. The index is a ranking system established by the World Bank. In that index, a lower numerical value indicates better, usually simpler regulations for businesses and stronger protections of property rights. And these lead to higher rankings. Getting permits, registering, getting a business name, hiring staff, and many other necessities are essential for a business to be established. How easy or not a country makes that can determine how much investment comes into that economy. Now, joining me from Johannesburg, South Africa is Soji Akinsoji. He's a financial journalist and the CEO of Africa Business Radio. Soji, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me on Business Edge.
Thanks for having me, Tolu. Good morning.
Good morning. So let's start a bit with the ShopRite situation before we expand into how operating a business in Nigeria can be. So when the news of the possible move of divestments from ShopRite came several weeks ago, the company said that it was a decision taken to leave following approaches from various potential investors who are looking to invest in the Nigerian entity. The group also said the decision is in line with its re-evaluation of the group's operating model in Nigeria, one of the 15 countries where it currently operates its ShopRite stores. Are you hearing of ShopRite divesting or leaving any other African country that's currently operating in?
So generally, ShopRite has been trying to refocus the strategy, and of course, the idea is to focus on the market where they are strongest. And I think that market has been South Africa. They're a dominant player within the market in South Africa. And over the years, their strategies to expand across Africa hasn't really been working out well for them. Within Southern Africa, they've done well, but moving out of that region, I think they've always been encountering troubles. And ShopRite is the only retail player in Africa that probably had to move out of Nigeria. You know, way back a couple of years ago, we had Woolworth actually did the same thing. They came in after a couple of years, they had to move out. And the idea is that the environment across the continent, especially when it has to do with the retail industry, is quite different compared to what they used to. And I think, like I'd mentioned before, their strategy now is to focus on the areas of the market where they have the best advantage.
All right, so they've also said that they're moving more from an ownership model to a franchisee model as well across the continent, and that's what we're going to see. Ketron is going to retain the name but be operating here in the local space. Why do you think that makes sense for an entity like ShopRite to move from having ownership stake in these economies locally and moving now to having other people sort of operate? And we've seen that. We see it with KFC. We've seen it with Domino's. They run a franchisee model as well across the continent.
I mean, when you look at it, it takes a special human being to be able to understand the business landscape in Nigeria the way it is. It's not like any other place. And I think for them, the idea is to allow people who have operated the same type of business here locally in Nigeria to be able to run it for them while they also still retain some level of ownership in terms of equity ownership. With that, they will still be able to share in the prosperity of the company locally, going forward. But then, in terms of control, I mean, they transfer the control to the local shareholders, and also they built a very strong brand in terms of the industry where they play. And I think that brand comes with value. And I think also that is what the new ownership is also buying into. When you hear the name ShopRite, you attribute that name to retail giant. And I think that's a good one for the new owners.
So let's go into some of the local considerations. Your statement was that it takes a special kind of individual, basically, to play in the Nigerian space. But when it comes to that, we know Nigeria is a highly competitive market. As you said earlier, they're not the only retail player in this space. You even have Park and Shop and others who responded to the entry of ShopRite into the Nigerian markets about 15 years or so ago. Aside from that, we also know that a lot of shopping is now going online as well. People are not so much going into physical stores again. But beyond that, what do you think are some of the local considerations that may have come into play from ShopRite's parent company as well?
I think the entrance of ShopRite into the Nigerian retail industry has opened up the market in terms of the possibility around bulk buying and the ability to be able to control the price, and of course also establish many outlets across the country. And I think that is the advantage you get if you are a big player within the retail industry. And I think that that opportunities and the
All right, so I'm having some technical connection issues there, but I think Soji is back with me. Soji, please go ahead, continue your thoughts on that.
All right, so I was just explaining how ShopRite has been able to unlock the potential opportunities within the Nigerian retail industry, especially considering the population size of Nigeria and the ability to be able to buy in bulk and also establish many outlets across the country. And I think that is where the opportunity is. And also, looking at the fact that Nigeria as a country also requires a lot of things that stay quite not working yet. And I think the opportunities that ShopRite has unlocked